Shocker. If you're one of the many new subscribers to the channel over the last few weeks, you're going to go, wait a minute, what's this guy doing talking about something other than CONCACAF? Well, we do cover everything on this channel. Welcome to it. The AFCON, the Africa Cup of Nations, was absolute spectacle in the best way in Morocco. Great crowds, great atmosphere, great social media, including teams dancing into the locker rooms, preparing for those games, getting to see a bit of that culture that we don't get to see so often in the public domain. And it was a great effort by Morocco advertising this campaign from the folks I spoke to in the region and around the world that get a little more exposure to those airwaves. They said that Morocco did a fantastic job propping this thing up and making it look good. And it sure did look good the little bit we got to see. So let's talk a little bit about it. Just like our CONCACAF highlights, there was some highs and lows that we need to address during this tournament. You know, we're talking about getting ready for the World Cup, so surely you're going to see Titans win. You're going to see heavy hitters possibly fall, and underdogs and beautiful stories rise out of the occasion. So we're going to talk about all of them. So without giving too much away, let's dive right into it. Let's look at the results. I'm going to put the group results on the screen for you guys right now. Unsurprisingly, in Group A, Morocco handles business on their home court in Rabat, winning all three matches pretty convincingly, as they do, really proving that they are the top dog on the African continent. We all knew that already. They are one of the best in the world when it comes to futsal, in my opinion. And this was no surprise to me at all. But going into this tournament, I really wasn't sure who else to look for. But Angola taking second place pretty convincingly as well in this group. Exciting considering the aspirations that this country has had over the years, looking at trying to start a pro club all the way back in 2020. Article that was covered by Futsal Focus at the time, as Angola looked to angle themselves and be the first country on the continent to have a truly professional league. Still looking to see what could happen with a professional league in Angola. They are still pursuing those things and making sure they're done correctly. So a lot of interesting opportunities in an up-and-coming country. Take a look at Group B. Egypt, unsurprisingly, winning this group. Egypt has been a powerhouse in futsal in Africa for a long time. They even got top honors with a clean record, 3-0. Libya in second place. After a tough 4-0 loss to start this tournament against Egypt, they actually were able to hold off Mauritania and then win again against Namibia, in convincing fashion, setting up a semifinal that was bound to have some drama. There's only 3 slots available for the World Cup in Africa, so making it to that semifinal does not guarantee you a slot like it does in CONCACAF. There's still some work to be done. Game 1, we see Egypt take on Angola, and would you believe that Angola runs away with a 7-3 victory against Egypt? Now, Egypt, like I said, used to be a powerhouse in Africa, but and one I thought was certainly going to be a shoe-in for a World Cup slot, especially after missing out on Lithuania. I thought, okay, this will be their point where they correct things and come back around to what they know. But they were just not up to snuff to keep up once they got to that semifinal. But their World Cup hopes weren't dashed yet because they could still get that third place spot and continue on to the World Cup. So no need to panic just yet. There's still time. There's still opportunity. But Angola securing their first World Cup slot in the country's history and doing it in emphatic fashion. Congratulations to Angola right off the rip. They find a way to create history for themselves and move on to the World Cup for the first time ever. Looking forward to watching them in Uzbekistan in several months. Game 2, unsurprisingly, was all about Morocco. They dominated the match 6-0, setting up an Egypt match with Libya for that final World Cup slot. Morocco would take on Angola for the local prize of the region for AFCON tournament. Libya in the semis proved to be up to the task. They got vengeance from their loss against Egypt in the very first game. They won 5-3 against Egypt and knocked them out for competing for a World Cup. Libya takes the final spot heading to the World Cup. And then meanwhile, we moved on to that finals match. And would you not be surprised? The crowd was loud. The atmosphere was fantastic. And Morocco was shining bright. They won 5-1 against Angola, playing with a lot of flair, flying the keeper in the first half fairly early, not afraid to experiment, take risks. They played with so much confidence and swagger in this match. You knew from the get-go, even when the match was a little tight in the beginning of the game, that they would wear down this Angolan side and win that trophy. And surely they did, of course, doing it in great, great fashion. So let's talk about a couple of the highs and lows of that summary. First things first, the highs. For me, Libya. Congratulations to them. What a great result for a country that was certainly playing against some tougher competition and probably wasn't someone many people were tapping to be a World Cup contender, maybe a few. But again, my lack of knowledge in the region and not being sure who to cheer for, I certainly saw it as a bit of a surprise. I expected more from Egypt in that tournament, more to come on that. And then Morocco deserves their flowers for putting on a fantastic tournament, not only on the court, but off of it. The fans were fantastic. The organization looked wonderful. Everything looked really, really good from Morocco. Rabat was a great host city and a city that many expected to host the World Cup in the first place. But that goes back to some old drama from last year. A lot of people thinking that Morocco deserved that World Cup bid. They proved that they can put on a hell of an event and did so for the Cup of Nations. Congratulations to Morocco all the way around for all of their efforts and results over the course of the tournament. And now for the lows. It's got to be said, Egypt still struggling to find their footing and catch back up with the rest of the continent. Again, for the third time this video, Egypt used to be a powerhouse. What is happening in Egypt that they are falling apart? But also to come out of that group stage so clean, undefeated, and then to lose right away against Angola in that semifinal. I'm not sure I understand what happened there to cause that failure, but they've got to find a way to catch back up with the rest of the continent. It's not enough to be the big boys anymore. And I've said it in previous videos about other regions. When you are the top dog or one of the top dogs, everyone brings their best game when they face you. Egypt's got to figure out a way to clean it up and get back into the world spotlight. Another low for me actually is CAF themselves. You know, they advertised on social media that these games would be on YouTube, and much to my dismay, none of them were until the semifinal and final available to America. I messed around with the VPN a little bit, bouncing around to some other countries, and could not find a way to get these streams and these videos. I gave up. I only caught the first game of the group stage with Morocco because someone was streaming it illegally by streaming a stream of a television broadcast, and it was getting passed around on social media, and I found it on Twitter. But outside of that, very difficult to find, very difficult to follow these teams. And with Africa having a lot of countries investing in futsal right now and trying to build up the sport, what a missed opportunity from CAF to really shine a spotlight on the best of the best and entice people to follow this game. Much like with CONCACAF's geo blocks in certain countries, including here at home in the US, for me, I think it's a huge, huge miss not to air this on a free platform and show what a wonderful event you're putting on. There's nothing to be ashamed of in this tournament from what we did see. Why not air it? It makes no sense to me, and it's not going to grow the game in the continent or in the world by doing so. We've got to keep pushing forward. We got to keep demanding more from the federations, provide us with the content and the ability to watch these things. Now, they did do some great social media content as well, so I should say and give them their credit. The posts of the teams heading to the locker room was really exciting. Some of the facts that they put on Twitter about the teams was interesting, but give us the games. Show us the games. They were done so well for the semifinals. Why couldn't we get 2 full group stages out of this as well? Time will tell. No one knows. Would love to hear from someone in the region that may know better than me. As always, guys, tell me what you think about this tournament in the comments. Tell me if I am on with my highs and lows, or if you had a different perspective on the tournament in Africa. And until I hear from you guys then, as always, don't forget to play with your soul.